Good evening, everybody. I am Nicholas Maloney, and I'm back again here with another video for you. Tonight, I'd like to talk about something very interesting developing once again in the Canada-United States relationship. Earlier on today, Trump went and met with the Canadian Prime Minister, Mark Carney, and they had a little discussion there, give a bit of a press conference as well, talking about trade and other U.S. Canada issues, and we're going to get into that and talk a little bit about what that might mean. We've got this article here from AP. Trump expresses ambivalence toward the future of U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade deal as he meets with Carney. President Donald Trump said Tuesday that he was open to extending the free trade agreement with Mexico and Canada through a renegotiation or seeking different deals as he met with Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney at the White House. Carney made his second visit to the Oval Office ahead of next year's review of the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement, and as one of the world's most durable and amicable alliances, has been fractured by Trump's trade war and annexation threats. I'm not sure those threats are serious. I think it's more Trump making a statement. But we'll get into that later on. We'll talk a bit more about that. The free trade agreement was enacted during Trump's first term, and it allows the majority of Canadian and Mexican goods to be shipped to the U.S. without tariffs. But Trump has made it clear since returning to office that he wants to reshape the relationship, and he expressed ambivalence toward the process as long as he feels like he's able to improve America's position. Yeah. People forget Canada has a bunch of tariffs on us, or at least they have historically. Canada is one of the most expensive countries in the world to deal with in regards to trade. So let's not pretend like, Canada's completely innocent here. They're not. They're not. That's one of the big misconceptions that I think a lot of people are failing to get at here is Canada's not the nice guy who treats everybody fairly and everything else. No, that's not like that at all. We could renegotiate it, and that would be good, or we can just do different deals, he said. We're allowed to do different deals if we want. We might make deals that are better for the individual countries. The remarks suggested that Trump is willing to let uncertainty over the agreement's future linger. Carney entered the visit hoping to find some relief on sector-specific tariffs. There is fear in Canada over what will happen to the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement, which is critical to Canada's economy. More than three-quarters of Canada's exports go to the U.S. Trump showed a fondness for Carney, something he didn't have toward Carney's predecessor, Justin Trudeau, but noted that there was a natural conflict between the two countries, a point to which the Prime Minister politely disagreed. We want Canada to do great, Trump said, but there's a point at which we also want the same business. And I think what Trump means here is that we're basically kind of competing over the same sort of businesses, right? We each want the auto manufacturers in our country, for example. And we can't both have it, right? Only one of us can have that, basically. We're kind of fighting over who gets stuff like that. Asked why the U.S. and Canada has failed to reach a deal on trade, Trump said it's a complicated situation. We have natural conflict, he said. We also have mutual love. Carney said he wouldn't use the word conflict. There are areas when we compete, and it's in those areas where we have to come to an agreement that works. But there are more areas where we are stronger together, and that's what we're focused on. Trump's talk of making Canada the 51st state in tariffs have Canadians feeling an undeniable sense of betrayal. The U.S. president made a joking reference to a merger between the two countries at the top of his remarks Tuesday. Relations with Canada's southern neighbor and longtime ally are at a low point. Yeah, that's probably fair, I would say. There's actually the clip here of Trump talking about that merger, just really, really quick. It's a few seconds.
This is, in many respects, the most important.
The
what
merger
you traded
of Canada
no,
and the
what
United
you have
States.
traded. That wasn't where I was going. I would no, but on this solemn day of this is.
So there you go, right? And it is kind of funny. We've had ups and downs, but this is the lowest point in relations that I can recall, said Frank McKenna, a former Canadian ambassador to the United States and current deputy chairman of TD Bank. I talk every day to ordinary citizens who are changing their vacation plans, and I talk to large business owners who are moving reward trips away or executive business trips. McKenna said. There is an outright rebellion. Carney has said the USMCA is an advantage for Canada at a time when it is clear that the U.S. is charging for access to its market. Carney has said that the commitment of the U.S. to the core of USMCA means that more than 85% of Canada-U.S. trade continues to be free of tariffs. He said the U.S. average tariff rate on Canadian goods is 5.6% and remains the lowest among all its trading partners. But Trump has some sector-specific tariffs on Canada, known as Section 232 tariffs, that are having an impact. There are 50% tariffs on steel and aluminum imports, for example, because we want to start doing that ourselves, right? We want to get steel production back up. After the meeting, Dominic LeBlanc, the minister responsible for Canada-U.S. trade, described the talks as successful and positive on trade issues, though he noted the conversation would be continuing. He said Canada was looking to get a deal done quickly on steel and aluminum. Vice President J.D. Vance hosted Carney for dinner Tuesday evening, according to an official familiar with the matter. The official spoke on condition of anonymity, as they were not authorized to speak publicly on the matter. The ties between the two countries are without parallel. About $2.5 billion, nearly $3.6 billion Canadian dollars, worth of goods and services cross the border each day. Canada is the top export destination for 36 U.S. states. There is close cooperation on defense, border security, and law enforcement, and a vast overlap in culture, traditions, and pastimes. Yeah, there is. And there are parts of Canada that could merge well with the United States. Maybe not all of Canada. Uh, some of the eastern provinces would have a real problem with that. Probably Quebec in particular, because it's very French. Yeah. About 60% of U.S. crude oil imports are from Canada. Most of that probably coming from Alberta, which is an awesome province in the western part of the country. It's actually right along the border with Montana. It's that part of Canada there. And 85% of U.S. electricity imports are also from Canada. Canada is also the largest foreign supplier of steel, aluminum, and uranium to the U.S. and has 34 critical minerals and metals that the Pentagon is eager for and investing in for national security. The bigger prize would be getting a mutual agreement to negotiate as quickly as possible the free trade relationship, McKenna said. If the United States were to threaten us with 6 months' notice of termination, I think it would represent a deep chill all across North America. Now, this here is a very interesting situation. And Trump, he makes these comments about the 51st state. What exactly is he getting at? Well, maybe there's a part of Trump that does kind of want Canadian territory. And maybe there's a part of Trump that's actually kind of pointing out that in a lot of ways, Canada maybe already is kind of like the 51st state. There are parts of Canada that are very attractive looking, territory-wise. Namely Alberta, which is right along the border with Montana and has the third largest oil reserves in the world. It's a lot of resources there, and it's very good for like energy security to have something like that. Alberta, of course, as we discussed in a previous video, is maybe going to try to secede from Canada, and we're going to see how that goes. There's a big sort of independence movement brewing in that province right now. And maybe it could one day become a U.S. territory or a U.S. state, similar to how Texas did, because Texas was an independent country, then it joined the United States after it separated from Mexico. And, it's shaping out to be a very, very interesting situation. There's also the whole issue of the Arctic and the Arctic territory. If you're familiar with geopolitics, perhaps the Arctic is of great interest to you. It certainly is of great interest to me. We're going to take a look at this here. This is a map of the Arctic Circle. And you can see many different countries have territory in the Arctic Circle here. The Arctic Circle and the Arctic in general is very, very important moving forward in the future. Because as the ice in the Arctic begins to melt, the Arctic Sea becomes more possible to navigate for ships to go through, so trade routes can open up and stuff like that. And also new resources hidden under the ice currently can finally be taken out and extracted. So we're not quite at the point yet where that sort of stuff can be done, but countries that have Arctic territory are in a very good position for the future because they're going to get a whole lot more access to new resources. And there are basically, let's see, we got, um, you basically, I think, by my count, got 7 countries in the Arctic with a presence in the Arctic. The country with the biggest presence in the Arctic, as much as I hate to admit it, is Russia, because they have so much territory in the northern part of the world, and you can see they're yellow in the picture here. They got a whole lot of it. We have Alaska, the great state of Alaska, the 49th state. Alaska's pretty big. It's got a lot of Arctic territory up there. So we have our foot in the door in the Arctic. We are a part of the Arctic game, so to speak. We're that's Alaska's going to have some good stuff for us in the future here. We got our foot in the door. You look at Canada. Canada has a whole lot of territory, doesn't it, in the Arctic? Look at all the red stuff there, right? So does Greenland. You've probably recalled Trump talking about Greenland and the possibility of the United States getting its hands on Greenland. Greenland currently is under the rule of Denmark, which of course is a European country. But there's talk of them maybe pursuing a more independent stance. And really, if you're Trump and you're looking at the Arctic and you understand the Arctic is the future, you kind of want to get your hands on some of this Arctic territory, don't you? I mean, if you understand that it's the future and you want to be in a good position moving forward in the future, you kind of want to get your hands on it, don't you? I hate to sound like an imperialist, but I can understand where he's coming from. I mean, and you've got a few smaller countries down there, Norway, Sweden, and Finland, who have a little bit of Arctic territory. They don't have very much, but they're technically involved as well. You can see them down in the bottom of the screen there. So that's kind of where things currently lie in the Arctic. And if you're the United States, you're thinking, well, maybe I can get myself Greenland. We already have Alaska. Maybe I can get myself Greenland, and maybe I can get myself the northern parts of Canada there. We don't need all of Canada, maybe just certain parts of it, right? It looks attractive. It looks, if you're an American, you want this. You want this territory. If you're an American policymaker or an American leader, you're thinking, I want more Arctic territory. Maybe we can get it this way. How we get it, of course, if we get it at all, is a matter of question. But it is something that maybe could be done. And if you understand the importance of the Arctic moving forward, maybe you can better understand why Trump is making comments like this. And perhaps maybe you can understand why he's probably serious about it. I don't think Trump wants all of Canada. I don't think Trump thinks that all of Canada would merge well with the United States, but maybe he wants Alberta, which is the big oil province, and maybe he wants the Arctic provinces in the northern part of the country of Canada. And of course, he probably also wants Greenland, as he's mentioned a number of times. All of these territories put together, Alaska, Canada, the northern part of Canada, where all the Arctic territory is, and Greenland, would match all of the territory that Russia has. So basically put us on even footing with the Russians, if we were to get all of it. And that's kind of the idea. So it's something to think about, and I think it's important to recognize that though it may sound ridiculous, stuff like this has real-world implications. So that's the other thing. And there's also the issue of the Northwest Passage, which is a trade route that goes through the Arctic. Here's a picture of it. You see it goes through the northern part of Canada, the province of Nunavut there. It flows alongside Greenland and Alaska. So if you want to control the Northwest Passage, you want access to all of these other territories, so you can really sort of get a hold on it, right? You want Greenland and you want the northern part of Canada, and you already have Alaska, and then you'll be set. The Northwest Passage is basically like the Panama Canal, but without the canal. It's just a way to get through North America to the rest of the world. And that's kind of the idea. So I think I've presented some interesting things to think about, and certainly the Arctic, as well as some of these 51st state comments, probably have some real thinking behind them. So I hope I was very informative, but I'd like to hear what you all have to say about it. Please do leave your comments in the comment section below, and I would be very, very happy to respond to each and every one of them. And we can have a real good discussion about, how far are we willing to go, if at all, in regards to acquiring new Arctic territory? What do you think about the 51st state comments? Do you think it's all a sham? Do you think it's real? Do you think there's some truth to it, but not the whole thing? I want to know what you all think. So please do leave your comments down below. And please do subscribe because we're going to be talking about this a lot more in the future. Thank you all for tuning in, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you.